Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is John Richardson and this is Richardson's Rubicon. It's a live show. Can you believe it? I can't quite believe it myself. I'm going to give this a try. It's a new format and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. There's a few segments I'd like to introduce into the show, but as this is the pilot episode, this is really about do things work? And one of the things I found that doesn't work is the fact that I run a B&B and my guests of all nights tonight have decided that they're going to be late. And what can I say? Guests, I need the money, so that's great. But being late means they're probably going to arrive midway through this broadcast, which is disappointing, but it's unavoidable. I'm so sorry. But anyway, and it's quite ironic, actually. Today is VE Day. And it's the 80th anniversary, if you like, of VE Day as well. And if you don't know what VE Day is, it's Victory in Europe Day, and it signals the end of World War II. And it seems to have been hijacked a little bit by a lot of, I wouldn't say far right or anything like that, but I would call them flag shaggers, because they seem to latch onto this nationalistic fervour with the Union Jack, rather than celebrate the end of World War II and the sacrifice that heroes made from all races and all creeds and colour and everything in fighting the Nazi threat. And it seems that message is lost. And an example of that is on Sunday we put the bunting out outside the B&B. And we also include the saltire as well as the Union Jack. And unfortunately, it seemed that someone basically got themselves a little bit annoyed that some of the shops hadn't put bunting out or hadn't displayed flags or hadn't done something of that ilk, and took it upon himself to post in the community chat that these people are rubbish. And okay, I get his point. There should be a little bit more. It's kind of like the last dwindling survivors of World War II, so it risks being fading from memory and all the reasons that we fought for and so on and so forth. And when I say we, I mean we as a nation. I don't obviously mean we as in me. I'm not that bloody old. But basically, it just seems that this derision that goes on is uncalled for. Of course, you got the people coming out of in the chat saying, if, I was a one-legged lesbian and I had the pride flag, everyone would be expected to have the pride flag up for me and a disabled flag and all of that sort of stuff. It's a different world now, all of that. No, it's not. It's the same world. It's the absolute same world. The reasons that we fought in World War II and World War One, well, mainly World War II, was to have freedoms and to be able to celebrate people of all diversities. And it just kind of winds me up a little bit. But it is what it is. Now, these guests haven't arrived yet, and they're on the Isla ferry, which should have arrived over an hour ago. So I don't know where they are. The funny thing about it is as well, they're Germans. So their Germans arriving on VE Day. Of course, I didn't post that up in the community forum. I didn't know how these people would take it. So, oh my God, maybe get themselves a little bit annoyed at that. Anyway, so if anybody wants to join the actual show as a guest right now, I'm posting a link in the chat, and you would basically just close down where you're viewing and just click on that link. There's also a short guide as well. Let me just get this short guide up. There we go. I will pop that in the chat as well. And basically, yeah, there we go. Did that go? I did it. I don't want. There it goes. There it goes. But yeah, so that's interesting. One of the things I want to do with this is talk about different subjects, and it really needs some sort of guest interaction or audience interaction. So if you're in there, just feel free to say hi, tell us where you're from, tell us what you're doing, that sort of thing, and we can go from there. But basically, I'm just going to, in the absence of anything else, and seeing as this is the pilot episode, I'm just going to go through what I did today. My bees, actually. I haven't updated anyone about my bees since November, December. So yeah, it was basically, they had 2 hives going into winter. I took my own advice and I came out with 1 hive out of winter. And I live in Western Scotland. The climate isn't exactly great, but it's manageable. It's still temperate. And one of the challenges we've got is wind, and the other challenge we've got is rain. And of course, we've got an slightly extended winter, which pushes spring into June, really, before we get any inkling of summer. But we've had some recent good weather, and I was able to inspect the hive that remained, and it was interesting. I went in with 2 boxes, a double brood box it's called, and there was one. The colony was in the top box, basically. The bottom box was inhabited by what can only be described as slugs and woodlice. It wasn't a pretty sight, and quite a bit of mould. So I obviously discarded that. The bees themselves managed to survive with all of those uninvited guests, which was good. And basically, it was by the look of God that they made it through, I would have thought. So I tidied them all up a few days ago and thought I'll put them on the bottom box, and I'll put another box on top of them. And this had a whole load of honey stores from the previous year. So I thought I might as well give them the nutrition that they need, and they can chomp their way up into that and perhaps start brood there. So anyway, I inspected them today, and it turns out that one of the things that has affected them is basically with the 2 boxes and then small number of bees, the queen stopped laying, essentially, because I noticed that a number of bees had started dwindling. So today it was a case of, right, you're going to go into a nucleus, which is a smaller box, fits about 5 or 6 frames in, and I'm going to put some sugar syrup on top of that, so you've got some feed there. So that's what I did today, and I've got to leave it a week or 2 weeks now, and to see if that makes any difference to the poor things, and hopefully that'll improve and the queen will start laying. The key concern, of course, is that they've got to rework the comb to make sure they've got room to actually for the queen to lay. But I think I did a sufficiently good job in making sure that I had the right comb in there for them. So fingers crossed on that. And the other thing that struck me as well today is I was looking through some funny stories because I thought, I'm going to see what I can do about this funny stories. But basically, and I looked on this website. It's called odditycentral.com, and this Turkish town called Lice, lice, basically in some province, and I am not going to try and spell the name, but basically 25,000 residents got high after the police burned tons of seized cannabis in the town centre. True story. This is April the 18th. Turkish authorities conducted an operation to burn over 20 tons of confiscated cannabis in lice, which caused the air in the settlement to become thick with weed and smoke. For at least 5 days, people couldn't leave their windows open and avoided going out for fear of becoming intoxicating? Well, perhaps they were intoxicated, and experiencing symptoms like dizziness, nausea, and hallucinations. Now then, I'm not an innocent guy. I am certainly not innocent, but I've never had hallucinations on weed. So anyway, bit of a strange one. But yeah, well, I think this is just about working. I think that from a technical perspective, it's okay. I think what I need to work on is some content. So I'll be doing that. And I also think that I will need to work on timings as well to make sure that I've got no interruptions or pending interruptions. Because I've got to say, I'm talking here and I'm trying to come up with things to say and stuff like that. But my mind is actually on my Germans who are about to arrive at some point, who will no doubt ring the bell and then demand that I answer the door straight away, which is their right. But it's one eye on this and one eye on the front door. It's not really a great place to be when I'm trying to run a show. So that's like my fault. So that was the funny story. That was the VE Day story. And I suppose another one would be a link to the visitor levy thing that I keep on prattling on about. But I've noticed that the SNP have started their ramping up of publicity for next year's elections, 2026. Now then, I don't know if or not, but I am generally an SNP supporter. I used to be a member of the SNP, but I'm not anymore. And the reason I'm not is because of the behaviour over the visitor levy. It just seems that they're not listening to people, and they've politicised it yet again. It's people are sort of distancing themselves from the legislation that they themselves voted on to go through. That's not the answer. We want people to change the legislation. There's a problem per se, but anyway, I'm rattling on a bit. I'm going to go now. I will work on this. I thank you for viewing and listening, and I will leave you on. So what I want to do now is just basically reiterate what this show is going to be about. It's going to be a couple of stories. It's going to be a couple of bits of feedback. So if any of you want to write into the show, it's john@richardsonsrubicon.com. And of course, you can also take part in various different ways on the website. And once we start getting into this on a regular basis, I think that basically it will start to be a success, which will be good. And hopefully we can take it from there. Thanks for your time. Thank you for your patience. And I'll see you again. Thank you.
Riffing the Rubicon, the talk show at the end of its tether.
This is a terribly unscripted closure to an episode. Thank you for listening and watching and for taking part. You can find our website at richardsonsrubicon.com, where you can also find our social media links. You'll primarily find us on Facebook and on Blue Sky. No X for us. Wonder why that is. And what you can also do is find out when the next webinar is. Usually it's on a Thursday, 9 p.m. UK time. Please attend and please consider taking part in that. It'll be fun, I promise.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.